welcome back. This video we'll be talking about, I'm calling it the number one lie about suffering. And it's more just kind of a subject. It's not one specific thing. It's just, they're all kind of intertwined. But pretty much that, at least to me, the number one lie about suffering is that you're weak if you let it break you. And I would also say that another way of saying that would be you're weak if you let your pain control you or control your actions or your mood. And so I think that that's, again, one of the things I've seen within our society is this point where, if someone's affected by their pain somehow, that they're just mentally weak. And that's not true. And I think that's why a lot of people hide their pain, is that they think by letting it out and letting people know about it, they're somehow going to be judged for being weak. And that's one of the things that I've seen as far as, a reinforcement of that is the comment made, everyone suffers. And so it's kind of like everyone suffers, get over it. When to me, I would say that beginning part, everyone suffers, so we all need healing. And so that, like I said, is a big part of why a lot of people don't get help. And so they think that they're being weak because they know that their pain's affecting them. And they're within a society where if that affects your ability to work or function, have a social life, that somehow you're inferior and you need to just get over it. When the fact of the matter is that we all have pain, and there's this issue where I don't feel like a lot of people prioritize other people's pains. And, a big part of that is that we all need healing. And so while I don't think that we should tell other people to prioritize our pain, at the same hand, I do think that we should all say that we all need to be compassionate towards each other's pain and how we recover from that pain. Because that leads me to the next part of that concept, which you can see with what's going on in the country right now, is that we all suffer differently. Again, this I think goes back to that people have a nature of thinking that their way is the right way, and if there are alternative ways, again, that's more of a statement that our way is the wrong way, when in fact, no, it's just simply the fact that we suffer different, we mourn differently, and we hear differently. It just makes perfect sense. You could just look throughout every aspect of human life in this country and see that we all enjoy certain foods, we all enjoy certain forms of entertainment and socializing and so forth. So wouldn't it make sense that how we heal would differ as well? I mean, there's just this constant reiteration, just by our behavior and choices, that we all have different desires, we all have different things that drive us. And so it just only makes sense that the system or steps need to be taken to heal would differ as well. And so again, that's just one of the things that I experienced, was just I think I may have already talked about this on a different video, but about a year and a half after my twin brother was killed, I had a friend tell me that another friend behind my back was talking about how he thought I should already be over my pain of my brother's death by then. And it really made me upset and angry, because I was just thinking about myself, you haven't lost a sibling, let alone a twin. You don't have a twin. How would you possibly know where I should be with my pain? And again, it was one of several incidences following my brother's death that really tainted my willingness to reach out to people, because I thought, this person knows me. He knows that I lost my twin brother in war. I would think that somebody would know better than that to say that, and yet he did. And so again, it's really important for us to not. And again, I think it goes both ways, because I've had situations where, and I know for myself, that was something for myself I realized is just because I'm able to handle something or be more composed in certain circumstances or with life, it doesn't mean I should expect other family members to be where I'm at. And it goes the other way. Just because I'm functioning, just because my family's growing and so forth, and I'm able to compose myself, it doesn't mean I'm not suffering underneath. And so it's just really important for us to not judge each other's actions or lack of action based on our own perception of what we would be doing. And well, if I was doing this or not doing that, that means I'd be fine, or I'd be And so there's so many times where I've seen that, and I've even done it myself. And like I said, that's one of the things that I've realized, and why I felt the need to have this channel, is to more talk about that, because I feel like so many times when when I feel like there's just so much stuff that we don't talk about involving pain. And that's one thing I've learned, is that if you don't talk about it, no understanding can be done. You can't grow, you can't heal, if we're all just left to judge each other in silence. And so again, I just want to encourage people to be able to, again, not necessarily judge each other based on their action or lack of action when we're suffering. And that's the tough thing about it, is that sometimes when I feel motivated to talk about it, my loved ones around me might not feel motivated. And so it's important for me to not push that on them at the same hand too, for them to not, think that, because I can talk about it, that somehow it doesn't still hurt me. Because that's the one thing I found about my pain, was it hurts just as much as the day he was killed. I'm just stronger. And so I can talk about it. Because that's the thing, like I said, was I would shut down if my pain was ever brought up for years and years after he was killed. But again, too, it was just one of those things where, as I've realized, is that, it's like I personally believe that we're all blind. And there's this certain point in our lives when we gain sight, and then it's so common for us to be like, why can't you see? I can see. And that's one thing I've realized, is that we're not all on the same timetable. Again, I think that a lot of people have this internal time clock, and yet it's just one of those things where it's interesting, because it seems like it's always at the time clock that you have, when you don't realize that, again, like I said, before you had sight, you were blind just like everyone else. And so it's really important to be able to be open, but also, again, be compassionate towards those who aren't ready. But again, it's just one of those things where, again, like, you just to see what's going on in the country. And again, too, obviously there are certain actions, like I said, where, my pain doesn't entitle me to hurt other people. That being said, as far as those people, I'm sure there's lots of people, with what's going on in the country and the injustices and so forth, who are suffering in silence. And so I think it's really important for people to not judge them just because they're not protesting, and because they're not marching the streets, just because they're not going on Facebook and blasting this or that. It doesn't mean they don't support you. And again, I feel like that's why we don't make a lot of progress, is there's a certain level of do what I'm doing, or otherwise you don't care. And it's a bad way to create unnecessary separation. And I feel like if we can be testaments and be strong and speak our peace and speak our pain, we can give strength, encouragement, and help other people to get their own strength. But it's really important to realize that just because we have the strength to speak doesn't mean that the other people are weak, or that they're part of a problem. It just means that they need to find the courage within themselves. And I feel like a lot of the time, the more compassionate you are to people that don't have strength, the more strength that they'll get. But again, it needs to be on their timetable, so to speak. It needs to be when they feel like they're ready, because they know what they're capable of. And again, when you're in a seriously painful state of mind, being called weak or being condemned as the issue, the problem, it's just going to make you less likely to speak up and find your strength. So I think it's really important for us to be compassionate to one another when we're suffering, because, like I said, it's just we all heal differently, we all suffer differently, and so it's important to empower each other by just making that distinction. Because I feel like the more and more we feel like we're understood and that people accept us, the more likely we are to find ourselves and find our footing and rise to the occasion, so to speak. But yes, I hope everyone is doing as well as they can, and we can all find strength and come together as a country and support all the great human beings that we have in this country, and just push forward and evoke real change. But as always, good luck and good night.